Hello, everyone. This is Justin Perez back from the Sunshine Sports Podcast, and I hope everybody's having a good time up to this point. Certainly, I can only speak for myself. I've had a very busy week. Um, you know, I'm sure everybody who's older than 24 understands the transition that a young man or young woman takes from being a college student to being a part of the working world for the first time, the working class world, whatever you want to call it, the adult world. So obviously, it's been a bit of a transition. So the only reason why I'm saying that is because I've been wanting to do these types of videos ever since we started the channel last month or however long it was, but I've never been able to do so. But today I have some time, so I'm going to be doing these. Before I get into the main topic of conversation, I'm going to be doing these videos kind of sporadically, randomly. I don't know, I can't promise when they'll be uploaded, but when they do, you'll see it. I don't even know what I'm going to call this, so we're just going to go with the basic title for now, The Journal of Justin, because that's basically what this is. This is my journal, my verbal journal, where I openly talk about things going on around Miami sports. And for this first installment, for this first type of video, where I talk about things that me and Colin might get to on the podcast on Fridays, we're going to be talking about several things that either are big news, small little footnotes, whatever the case may be, surrounding Miami professional and college sports. And for this first installment, we're going to be going over something that's trivial, but I feel like needs to be talked about, because it's a very sensitive topic with me, and I know that it's a very sensitive topic for a lot of other diehard South Florida sports fans. What am I talking about? Well, I have the tweet on my phone, and I'll try to edit it and put it on the screen. So, but there is a Fish on First writer by the name of Isaac Azout. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Isaac, if you come across this video somehow, some way, please do not take offense to me mispronouncing your last name. If I am, I apologize. I mean no disrespect whatsoever. And let's be honest, I am a huge fan of the work that you put out. For those of you who do not know, Isaac Azout and several other people run this site called Fish on First. To me, it is the quintessential Miami Marlins news community website, blog, whatever you want to call it. It's by far the best website out there to consume Marlins content that isn't from the team. It's a wonderful website. They have a podcast, which unfortunately I don't get a chance to listen to as much as a lot of other people, but they have a podcast and they do write a lot of good articles about the Miami Marlins. So if you haven't checked them out, I'll also put the link in the description below. Great website, by the way, and in my opinion, Isaac Azout is one of the best writers that Fish on First has. He's a former Florida International University student, as he proudly displays on his Twitter bio. So shout out FIU. I love FIU. But he's a phenomenal writer. He is a great writer. But with that being said, he tweeted something on Twitter 2 days ago, late at night, 2 days ago, that has garnered well over 30,000 views on Twitter, that has garnered just under 100 likes, and has stirred a lot of controversy in the comment section. So I'm gonna get to what he tweeted. Excuse me. Of course, your boy has to drink his water. I have to drink my water, guys. It is what it is. But he tweeted at 9:58 2 days ago, August 25th, 2026. He tweeted at 9:58 p.m. Eastern Time, I believe after the second game of the Boston Red Sox series, and he wrote, "As unfortunate as they come, my goodness. Only the second home run off a lefty by Duran all season." But here's the kicker, though. He said, quote, or tweeted, quote, "Additionally, nothing worse than seeing opposing fans fill up your ballpark. Marlins fans should be better." Really? So we have another media member, unfortunately, a media member that covers a Miami sports team, writing the same narrative. I mean, it's not a narrative, but forcing down the same story down everybody's throats for the millionth time. Because he is not the only individual that has go on Twitter or any microblogging website or site in general, social media site, and talk about the lack of a great attendance figure for a Miami or South Florida sports team. Of course, as I mentioned, this is probably the most sensitive topic that I can discuss involving myself when it comes to my love for South Florida sports. Because I love South Florida, not just the sports teams, but the whole region itself. I have a grandmother that lives down there. I believe she lives near Plantation. She's been living down there for well over a decade. I love the city of Miami. I love South Florida because of its because of its heavy Latin and Hispanic culture. I don't know any other city, not even New York, which I live very close to, by the way, has an authentic Latin culture like the city of Miami and South Florida. So I bring that up to explain to everyone that's watching that, yeah, I'm a New Jersey kid at heart. I was born here in New Jersey. I've grown up in the same household, in the same neighborhood in New Jersey my whole life. But deep down inside, I am a South Florida kid. I visited Florida once. It was an amazing experience, and I hope to visit Florida once again very soon. It's a wonderful place, and it's pretty special. Regardless of the problems that South Florida has, regardless of the government and, the city officials for all these different locations, the South Florida is a wonderful place. And it's a place that deserves to have professional sports. Miami is one of the biggest markets in North America, in the United States of America, and I believe that Miami has proven to be a great town for sports ever since the Miami Dolphins came into existence back in 1966 or 1965, 67, whatever year. It was one of those years. But ever since Miami has become a city for major professional sports, there has always been a narrative that has been spread across the internet, spread across the sports universe, that people in South Florida do not care. That they don't care about their teams, that they're a bunch of bandwagon fans. And you know what? I will agree that the second sentiment about bandwagons is partly true. Because I've been a fan of South Florida sports my whole life. I followed teams like the Florida Panthers, like the Marlins, the Florida/Miami Marlins for most of my life, the Miami Hurricanes, and I can agree that when these teams have not been very good, the respective stadiums or arenas have not been filled up. But you know something? Why is Miami always the one city that's constantly getting picked on for this exact scenario? Because I'm not just a Miami sports guy. I am a sports nerd. I am a nerd. I'm not trying to brag because that's not me. And really, this is nothing to brag about because it's not worth a lot in life. But I know a lot about sports. I know stuff way before my time. A lot of history, a lot of different players that I never got to see play when I was alive, and all that type of stuff. So I bring that up because I've watched a lot of footage and I've watched a lot of games across multiple different sports, across multiple different teams. I've seen games in New York, I've seen games in Boston, I've seen games in Minnesota, Los Angeles. And there's been plenty of times where the stadiums have not been filled up in those locations I've named for teams that weren't very good. As a matter of fact, we have two shitty NFL teams called the Giants and Jets, and I've seen some of their games on TV over the last couple years, and let me tell you that MetLife Stadium First of all, it's a horrible stadium. It's a dump. I've been in there. It's a glorified air conditioner, even during the cold winter months in November and December. It's a poorly constructed stadium that has nothing positive to it. It's a dump. And when the Giants and Jets have been bad, which has been mostly their entire history since MetLife Stadium has opened, the stadium has been almost completely empty by November and December. And these are New York teams that have massive fan bases, massively loyal fan bases. I've seen the Florida Panthers played a late regular season game against the Rangers this past season. I watched it on MSG, which is my local sports station here in the New Jersey, New York tri-state area. And Madison Square Garden was barely full. There were so many empty seats for a New York Rangers game nonetheless. I've seen Minnesota Wild games on TV before when they weren't very good. When they were mediocre at best. Empty seats. The Pittsburgh Penguins of the NHL. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been regarded as one of the best teams in the NHL for over the last 30 years. Continuously. The Penguins are widely regarded to have one of the best fan bases in all of professional sports. And yet this is a franchise that almost relocated 2 or 3 times and that went into bankruptcy twice. The Pittsburgh Penguins went into bankruptcy twice during its history because of a lack of fan support. And look at what guys like Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, Sidney Crosby, and Evgeny Malkin have done over the last 30 years, respectively. The Penguins went from being a consistent laughingstock in the NHL to a historic powerhouse franchise that has embedded themselves into hockey culture, into hockey history. I could use tons of other examples of tons of different sports. If you want to use baseball, the Houston Astros. I am also a Houston Astros fan. I'm a Marlins and Astros fan. And I started rooting for the Astros when Jose Altuve first became a pro. So like 2011, 2010, the Astros during like a 3 to 4 year run, I want to say 4 to 5 year run, were one of the worst teams in baseball year in and year out. And Minute Maid Park, which is considered to be one of the loudest ballparks in all of baseball, especially come playoff time, was like a ghost town during those dark years. Nobody showed up to the games. Nobody cared. TV commercials had higher ratings than Astros broadcast. TV commercials. That's a fact. You can go and research that. It's on there on the web. Nobody cared about the Houston Astros when they were losing 100 plus games a season for 3 or 4 or 5 consecutive years. And yet, when they've won 2 World Series championships, you could barely hear yourself think while watching games on the TV screen. At least me. So there have been a lot of teams. The San Francisco 49ers, the Penguins, the Astros, the Washington Capitals. There's a whole bunch of teams that I've seen a lack of fan support when the teams have been bad, only to see the fan support rise when they've been in contention. Yet you rarely hear people talk about those cities and those fan bases the way that you hear people talk about the Miami fan bases. And quite honestly, I don't understand why we continue to have this discussion. Like, people need to accept for who we are. I am willing to accept that Miami is not a great sports town. It is a great entertainment town. It's the same thing as Los Angeles. It's the same exact thing as Los Angeles. There might be a few differences between the two cities, but overall, LA and Miami are not sports towns, they are entertainment towns. They are both cities that have things that are well known that are not sports related. Miami and LA are known for cities to offer great nightlife. Party cities. Tons of attractions meant for adults. There are plenty of ways to spend the entertainment dollar in both LA and Miami. Specifically in Miami. And not to mention, unlike most other cities, the four major sports teams do not play close to each other. Hard Rock Stadium is far from where from where Lone Depot Park is. Okay, the Kaseya Center for Miami Heat games is in Biscayne Boulevard. And of course the And of course the Florida Panthers play in no man's land in Fort Lauderdale. So in Sunrise. So the teams are pretty spread apart. Unlike Denver, where the baseball, football, basketball, and hockey arenas, or basketball, hockey, all the major stadiums are close to each other in Denver and other cities, where in Miami that's not the case. There are plenty of ways to spend the entertainment dollar, and when a team is not very good, like the Marlins, things are not going to look good for the attendance. I've been a Florida Panthers fan my entire life. Okay, I go back to when you want to know how old I go back? I go back to when the damn seats in Amerant Bank Arena were green, not red, green. The ugly ass green seats, and maybe some of you can remember that as well. That's how far I go back. Okay, I am an old fan. I'm only 24, but you can pretty much count me as an OG at this point. And the Panthers, obviously throughout the 2000s, were one of the worst franchises, not just in the NHL, but in all of sports. And you can imagine how silent the building was every single night when the team would play its home games. Nobody would show up to the arena. Nobody cared. And the shitty ownership group we had were giving away free tickets, which drove away the few season ticket holders we already had. So, when a team is not good, people are not going to show up, especially if it's in South Florida. Because there are plenty of other ways to spend the entertainment dollar. And because the weather is pretty nice year-round, there's always options to do things like go to the beach, go to some amusement parks, whatever the case may be. There's always different options to spend your time. In the case of the Marlins, do you think that anybody is going to want to spend money on tickets in the summer to go to an indoor ballpark when there are plenty of other things to do during the summer outdoors, when the weather is at its nicest? No. The Miami Marlins have been a franchise for 34 years, and they have never won a division title. They have never won a division title in 34 years of existence. Oh, but they've won 2 World Series championships. Well, yeah, that is true, but the last and most recent one is already over 2 decades away from happening. Okay, the 2003 World Series championship Marlins team was 23 years ago. Okay, when the Marlins beat the Yankees in Game 6 of the 2003 World Series to clinch that championship, I was a year old. I was 1 year old. I'm 24. It's been a long time. Too long. I don't know how Isaac Azzout and some of these other media members can openly just criticize a team's attendance and talk about how another team's fans invade the ballpark when you look at the history of specifically the Marlins. The Panthers have dealt with it too. When the Rangers and the Canadians and the Penguins have come to town, believe me, our arena has been filled with those peasants from other cities. And it doesn't help that Florida is a state that has a lot of transplants. A lot of Northeasterners, a lot of people from the Northeast move down to Florida to retire or early before retirement because the weather's nice. You have a lot of businessmen that live down there. You have just a lot of different people from different areas of the country that move down to Florida. So it's not like the state of Florida is filled with natives who have lived there their entire lives. That's a problem. And when the teams have not been good, the people that you expect to support have not showed up. It's been the same thing with the Panthers. It's becoming a thing with the Miami Dolphins, which obviously is crazy considering how the Dolphins are the heritage franchise of this city. It's happened with the Miami Hurricanes at times. Not too much, but at times it has. Because college is different. It's happened with the Panthers. It's happened with the Miami Heat. Every single time the damn Knicks come to play in Miami, our beloved sanctuary is overrun by dumb Knicks fans who have nothing better to do than talk shit and get drunk for 3 hours. Like, it's literally what it is. When the Knicks score a basket in the Miami Heat's arena, you could hear a loud cheer most of the time. From, like, the opposite corner, from the opposite section of the arena. It's very painful and it's very annoying for me. It honestly is. And believe me, it's not easy for me to watch a Marlins game against the Yankees or Red Sox in Miami and hear several of their fans cheering when they make a big play or when they score a run. It's very painful. And it's agonizing for me. And to be quite honest, it gets me angry. It really does. Because they don't belong here. They don't belong there. They really don't. But the reality of the situation is that the Miami Marlins haven't been good since 2003. They have yet to win a division title. And the most striking thing is that this is a franchise that has failed. That has been failed because of bad ownership. The Marlins have failed. The Marlins' major failure has come through bad ownership. And obviously, I'll show it on the video if I haven't already. I replied. I gave a reply to Isaac saying that it's clear that you don't know what's been going on with this franchise for all these years. And according to him, he is well aware, yet he still has the audacity to tweet on Twitter this same nonsensical, retarded bullshit. Because if you understand what this franchise has been through for the last 34 years, then you would be smarter than to spew that biased vitriol that you call as journalism. Because it's stupid bullshit vitriol. It is. And you'd honestly expect better from somebody who actually covers the Marlins, who covers a South Florida sports team. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Media is media, and the media has an agenda. And the media, regardless of how nice a media member is, they have agendas that they want to push. And in the case of Mr. Isaac Azalt, he is pushing his own agenda. Continuing the bullshit, unnecessary discussion of Miami sports fan support. Of course, there's a lot of people that are going to be backing this because for some reason they hate Miami. And they're going to be saying, oh, well, they should move the team and people don't care about the team. It's a very easy thing for humans to do, considering that our race, our species, is very behind intelligently. This is a very, this species, the human race, is very behind other races, other life forms in terms of intelligence. It's just a fact. That's why we're making AI to do simple tasks for us, because we have become so degenerative as a society that we're making AI robots to do basic tasks for us, like organize and clean and do all that stuff. It's very scary. So yes, the human race is not very intelligent. I'm sorry, but that's just a fact. There's a lot of dumb people out there, and there's a lot of people who say a lot of dumb things. I'm not calling Isaac dumb, because he has to be smart enough to get a job that he has, but this insensitive bullshit that he's spewing from his mouth is exactly an example of how far behind we are as a society. Rather than take the necessary steps to do adequate research and to stick by the facts and actually understand as to why something is the way it is, he decides to ignore the truth and just criticize the one factor that can be criticized on. Do I want Miami Marlins fans to show up to games? Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. I wish that the stadium could be filled up with Marlins fans. And trust me, if I lived in Miami, I would do everything in my power to try to go to as many games as I can. That's just how I am. I am a true fan. Okay? I am a true fan that cares about the sports teams here. I wear the merchandise every day, as you could see right now. When I get up in the morning, I usually like to put on a jersey. And most of the time, the jersey that I put on, or the hat that I put on, is of a Miami sports team. I have a couple other teams too from different cities, but usually what you see me rocking is Miami stuff. I am a true diehard fan to the core. Okay? I care about these teams a lot. And I do a lot. So yes, I want Miami to embrace the Marlins. But the fact of the matter is that this franchise has committed damage that cannot be undone. I talked about it in my last recap. And bear with me as I'm getting a little emotional here. Look at what this franchise did after 1997. Okay? Look at what Wayne Huizenga did to this franchise after 1997. And you might be asking, Justin, why are you getting emotional on camera when you weren't alive back then? Because I still feel the anger and the resentment from certain people regarding the Marlins for what Wayne Huizenga did. And also for what Jeffrey Loria did to the 2003 team. But mainly the 97 team. I had a guy text me on Instagram. Of course, on Instagram, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are subscribed that aren't followers of our Instagram accounts. I say our because Colin has one too. And I'll probably put our own accounts. I'll probably put mine on there because it's more sports related. It's not like Colin's. I'll see what he says. I'll ask him later on when I have the opportunity. But I'll put my Instagram profile. It's mainly Florida Panthers stuff. But on my story, I post the highlights and I give my own thoughts for every game, for almost every game, for every team. The Heat, the Marlins, the Panthers, the Hurricanes. And when I have an opportunity to watch the Dolphins this season, I will do that as well. On my Instagram story, I post my own thoughts and the highlights of the team's games and all that stuff. And my overall opinion. And I had a guy text me. I had a guy DM me. saying that he cannot get back into the Marlins because of what Wayne Huizenga did in 1997. And I mentioned it on the last recap I did, which was the second game against the Boston Red Sox. 11 days after winning the championship, Wayne Huizenga tore down the roster. Okay? 11 days after winning a World Series championship, Wayne Huizenga, who should have been thankful for everything that he had earned, that he was given by Jim Leyland, by the players, instead of being thankful for it and embracing South Florida's love for this franchise, he did what most greedy businessmen do. When they don't get what they want, they throw a tantrum, they throw a fit, and if they have the power to make changes to benefit them or to prove a point, then they do it. Wayne Huizenga wanted a state for people who either are too young or don't remember. The Marlins played at the Miami Dolphins Stadium. They played at Joe Robbie Stadium for their first, decade of existence, for whatever the case may be. And Wayne Huizenga, who was the owner at the time, wanted to get a new stadium specifically for baseball. And he spent the money. He went out and he allowed Dave Dombrowski to go get Moises Alou, to go get Kevin Brown, to go get all these other guys, Gary Sheffield, to keep him here, to go get Darren Dalton, to get all these guys, to sign Livan Hernandez. People forget that Livan Hernandez was a hot commodity when he became a free agent out of Cuba. Okay? And we have a lot of Cubanos in Miami, so shout out to the Cubanos. We have a lot of Cubans in Miami. And people forget that he was one of the hot commodities as an international free agent, and he opened up the wallet. He allowed Dave Dombrowski to go out and get all those guys, to try to see if South Florida would support a baseball team. Because, of course, the strike in 1994 halted the fan support that the Marlins had gotten from the previous year, from 93, which was their first season. So Huizenga was like, I want to see if South Florida is going to support a baseball team. So he allowed the great Dave Dombrowski, one of the best minds ever in baseball, to go out and get the guys that were needed to build a roster, a championship roster. And he allowed Dave Dombrowski to go out and hire Jim Leyland as the manager, because Jim Leyland's one of the best managers of his era. And throughout the whole season, people started showing up. And by the time Edgar Renteria walked off Game 7 of the World Series that year, you couldn't find an empty seat in Pro Player Stadium. People cared. People cared about the franchise. And Wayne Huizenga took that away from everybody. Because he wanted a new baseball stadium, and he didn't get it right away. He traded away Moises Alou. He traded away Kevin Brown. He traded away Jeff Conine. He would trade Gary Sheffield away. He would get rid of Charles Johnson. He got rid of every single important member of the team that just brought South Florida its first major professional sports championship since the Dolphins won Super Bowl 8. And he took that away. That's what he did. He took something that was so cherished and loved by the people of South Florida, and it's like, envision a piece of paper. Envision me holding a piece of paper, and he just ripped it and threw it away. That's what he did. And you still feel the resentment from people to this day over that whole ordeal. And you're gonna blame people for not showing up? Look at what happened after 2003. Pudge Rodriguez quickly became a fan favorite. He signed a 1-year contract, and in that one season, not only did he become a fan favorite in Miami, but he was pretty much the most integral part. He was the heart and soul, the backbone of that 2003 team. And Jeffrey Loria didn't want to pay him money to come back. When he was openly admitting, when Pudge openly admitted that he wanted to stay in Miami, that he wanted to finish his career in Florida. Pudge was open to staying in Miami. He didn't leave because he didn't like the place. He didn't leave because he didn't like Florida. Pudge is Puerto Rican. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of these Hispanic baseball players love South Florida, because South Florida, as I mentioned, is a predominantly Hispanic area. The city of Miami is a Hispanic city. You have a lot of Cubans, Venezuelans, you have some Colombians, you have Dominicans. I'm half Dominican myself. You have Puerto Ricans. I'm half Puerto Rican myself. All the Hispanic baseball players would, I guarantee you, if you ask all the big name Hispanics now, if you were to ask them right now, would you love to play for the Marlins in Miami? I guarantee you they'd say yes in a heartbeat. But we've had ownership groups that have never cared to put a winning product on the field. Whether you look at Wayne Huizenga, and listen, I'm very thankful for Wayne Huizenga, and I have a plan to make a video about him. And I call Wayne Huizenga the man with a complicated legacy, because he has a very complicated legacy. Wayne Huizenga gave me my ultimate passion in life, which is the Florida Panthers. Okay? Without the Panthers, I would not be the person I am today. And that's not an understatement. Okay, they have gotten me through a lot of difficult times in my life. And same thing for all the sports teams. But it's mainly the Panthers that have a chord in me. I tell people all the time, if you were to slice my stomach open, you'll see 3 different colors of blood. You see red, navy, and gold. Okay, the Panthers colors are engraved into my skin. It's who I am. It's my biggest passion in life. So I am forever thankful for Wayne Huizenga for bringing hockey to South Florida, because without that, I wouldn't have what keeps me going. But there is no doubt that Wayne Huizenga took away things, took away people that were cherished in Miami. He did damage that cannot be undone. And that's the reason why a lot of people still to this day do not show up to Marlins games. Because they don't have trust in the ownership group. I don't even have trust in Bruce Sherman as a fan. I don't trust Bruce Sherman. I want to believe in him because that's all I can do as a fan. I want to believe that he cares, but I don't trust Bruce Sherman. The entire Miami community and the Marlins fan base, the very few of us that remain, Marlins fans of all ages, are weary. We are weary We are very, very weary of ownership. No matter who's in charge, we are always weary of what could happen. This team has always traded away its top players. This team has always given away people, individuals that have been loved by the Miami community. This team has always given up on players too early. The word trade is a word that Marlins fans have PTSD from. PTSD. Because whenever the Marlins and trade are involved in the same sentence, it's usually not good. It's not good. You cannot blame people for not showing up to games when ownership has not shown a commitment to winning. You can't do that. And I am so sick and tired of people always talking about this shit without going into the facts. Look into the facts. This is a very sensitive topic for me. And it gets me on my toes very fast. And I hate it. I hate it when people continue to dog this city and continue to mock this city for being weary of people who don't care. They don't care. How can you expect the citizens of South Florida to care when the people at the top are showing that we don't give a shit? Wayne Huizenga never gave a shit. Jeffrey Loria didn't give a shit. Bruce Sherman doesn't seem that he gives a shit. You cannot blame the people of Miami for not showing up to games when ownership groups have failed time and time again. And I'm getting emotional because, like I said, I love Miami, I love South Florida, but in the case of baseball, I am dying, I am craving for this city to have a team that they could be proud of again. You know something? I saw footage the other day. Hold on a second. I saw footage the other day. I saw footage of the Marlins 2003 parade down Calle Ocho. Okay, the Marlins, their 2003 championship parade was held down Calle Ocho, which is one of the most notable parts of Miami. The parade, it was a short route. And that shit took about 3.5 hours because there were people all across Calle Ocho that were so proud of this team. I saw people with Cuban flags, Dominican flags, Puerto Rican flags. People banging on trash cans, saluting this team. People with Marlins stuff all over. I saw this exact teal all over the place. And I said to myself, man, I wish that I could see this in my life. Because me being Hispanic, I desperately want to see my people be proud of a team in a city that is heavily Hispanically dominated. I live in a family of Hispanics. Okay? All we do is talk baseball. All we do is talk baseball. Okay, when my grandfather was alive, I have a picture of him right here. He's no longer with us. He sadly passed away. But whenever I would go to my grandfather's house in the summer, that's all we would do is talk baseball. During the summer when my uncles would come over, all we do is talk baseball. So I know what it's like to be part of a Hispanic, Latino, Caribbean family that loves the game of baseball. And me, for how much I love this city and for how much I love this franchise, I want nothing more than the great people of Miami to have another moment like this. I want to see all my fellow Hispanic, all my fellow Latinos in Miami, people who I have yet to meet. I want to see them happy again. I want them to have a baseball team that they could be proud of again. Me, fuck me. I don't care. I don't matter. I'm just one dude in a room, thousands of miles away. I'm talking about for the people, for the city of Miami. I want nothing more for them to have a team that they could be proud of, a local team that they could be proud of. I don't want people wearing Yankee stuff in Miami. I want people wearing Marlins shit. You see all these different kids wearing jerseys of all these different teams because they don't have a team to be proud of. They don't have a team to be proud of. I want nothing more for Miami to embrace this team. And the only way that's going to happen is if we have ownership that actually gives a fuck, and if we have ownership that actually puts together a winning product on the field. That's the only way we're going to get people back in this ballpark. So for all the people that are talking about attendance, knock it off. Knock it off. Because for all of you people who are talking all this garbage, you don't understand. You don't understand what this community feels. You don't understand what this community feels. You don't understand people. So for all you Miami haters and all you media members, before you talk and before you go on Instagram and spew stupid bullshit like this, maybe take the time to understand the community, understand the people, understand the history. Because this is a very sensitive topic for me. And I don't care. I will die defending this city. I will die. I will go to my grave backing this city more than any other city in the world when it comes to sports. Because goddamn it, I've seen when the Miami Heat were at the top of their game. I've seen the Florida Panthers at the top of their game. I've seen the Hurricanes at the top of their game. When teams are good in Miami, people show up. And believe me, the people in Miami love their sports. So knock it off with this nonsense. I've had enough. And I know it won't stop. I know it won't stop. Because there's always going to be people that are going to be talking. But I have had enough of this nonsense. And when I see other people, when I see journalists harp on the same topic, it makes me frustrated. Because they should be the ones who understand more than anybody. They should be the ones who know. Don't blame people for not showing up. And don't blame fans of other teams for invading our ballpark, for invading our stadiums, when the teams that are playing have ownership groups that haven't shown that they've given a slightest fuck about putting together a good team on the field. So before any of you go talking, understand the very essence, understand the nature of the city of Miami, and understand what's going on here before you talk. Again, I always say it to people, do your research. You cannot talk about you cannot have a conversation about a topic and act like you know what you're talking about and not have any adequate research in your head already memorized or already done. So to Mr. Isaac Azal and to all the people who say, "Oh yes, I understand." If you truly understand, then don't comment on it. Accept it for what it is and focus on what really matters, which is the game. Anyway, I'm fired up. I'm emotional. I feel like, bro, I really feel like, like in NFL films, like that, some of these big buff linebackers, during halftime, they get the guys in the room and they just start screaming and yelling and giving a pumped up speech to get them ready in the second half. I'm sure some of you have seen the famous Tim Tebow clip when he was a quarterback at the University of Florida for the Gators, saying this is going to be the most important half of our lives. Like, that intensity, that's the same intensity I'm bringing. Like I have that intensity when it comes to this because sports means so much to me and the city of Miami means so much to me. So I have like that type of intensity. And I will never ever restrict myself from showing that because it's who I am. It's what makes me. So yeah, man, I'm fired up. When I get to these conversations, I feel like I'm a linebacker in a locker room giving my team the goddamn speech from heaven. I'm fired up right now, man. Like, I'm emotional. You see it. I was here crying a little bit, holding myself together as best as I could. I'm here raising my voice like that's how much passion I have for sports and for the city of Miami. And I want nothing more than for these guys to become great again. It would be such a tremendous treat to see the city of Miami have a baseball team that they could call their own again, that they could rally around, instead of watching all these other bullshit teams. I desperately want that. I really want that. And it'll only come in due time. And I promise that one day we will get the right people in this building that care about the city, that care about baseball, that will put their time, effort, and resources into giving us what we true fans deserve. So for all of you Marlins fans that are still sticking, watching every night, I respect you and I admire you. I give you like the ultimate chain of resilience, if you want to call that. Because you guys have been as resilient as anyone else. Whether you're in Miami or somewhere else, shout out Colin, who lives in Texas. If everybody's sitting here watching these bullshit ass games every night, then I respect you wholeheartedly. And you deserve to have a championship when that day comes. And I promise that it will come one day. So for all you loyal Marlins fans and for all you loyal South Florida fans, stay the course. Stay the course. Listen, there is no other team that I love more than the Florida Panthers. If I could sit and watch shitty game after shitty game for nearly 2 decades before finally experiencing the one thing that I really wanted when it came to sports, then most of you can sit and be patient and wait too. Have faith. Because one day we will come back. And when we do, I'm going to come on camera again and I'm going to say, I told you. I told you. So have faith because one day things will turn around. We have a lot of tremendous players. It's been a frustrating season. It's been frustrating for me. Trust me. It's been frustrating for me. It's been frustrating for Colin. It's been frustrating for a lot of other people. But I guarantee you that one day we will rise and we will be the kings of baseball. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. Anyway, this has been Justin Perez for the Sunshine Sports Podcast. This was a longer video than expected, but I had to get this off my chest. I hope that whoever, for all of you that have watched this, if you're still sticking with me, if you're still here, I wholeheartedly thank you. Thank you for sticking with this and watching this and listening to this. And maybe, hopefully, my rants, my talk for the day have made you feel a little bit better about the situation. Because the same frustration that I have, I know that I share with a lot of you who are on the other side. So, that's it. I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully we'll be back soon. Oh, excuse me. And that's about it. So, this has been Justin Perez for the Sunshine Sports Podcast. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that fancy stuff. And until then, remember, if you can't be good, be bad, baby. Take care, everybody, and go fish.